One of the India-Pakistan projects that appeared to have survived the heightened tensions between the two countries in the last few months has been the Kartarpur Corridor. It has never been easy for the Kartarpur Corridor because it has been buffeted by the tensions that were brought on by the Pulwama suicide bombing and more recently by the changes in Kashmir. On Wednesday, Indian and Pakistani officials met at Atari to try and finalize the modalities for the Kartarpur Corridor, but were unable to agree on a draft agreement for operationalizing the corridor because of certain conditions that were introduced by the Pakistani side. In today's worldview, we are going to take a closer look at the Kartarpur Corridor and whether the two countries will be able to complete this project in time for the deadline of November 2019. And as part of this show on the Kartarpur Corridor, we are now going to talk to Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, who during his long diplomatic career also served as Consul General in Karachi and is quite acquainted with the political and diplomatic situation in Pakistan. Ambassador, as you must be aware, there was a meeting between Indian and Pakistani officials on Wednesday to try and finalize the draft agreement for the Kartarpur Corridor. But there continue to be some differences between the two sides.
That's par for the course in any India-Pakistan negotiation. If there is complete agreement, then we won't have the problems of the kind we are facing today. But more seriously, I think Pakistan wanting to tax the pilgrims is a first in the history of the world, because no place of worship in the world is prone to taxing people who want to come and pay their homage to the deity or whatever is the object of worship. Why they are doing so? Is it because they are financially in such a bad state that they need $20 from every pilgrim to make up for their losses? Is beyond belief, really. The second thing is their insistence that Indian High Commission's officials, the consular officials in this case, should not be present when pilgrims are there, again is both against the accepted norms and the tradition in terms of the practice followed so far, with some exceptions in terms of Sikh pilgrims going to Gurdwaras in Pakistan. So whether it is a negotiating tactic, whether it is a delaying tactic, we'll have to wait and see. But it does not leave a good taste in the mouth.
You know, the plan is to open the corridor for the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Ji in November. Do you think that timeline is still possible? It's doable?
Well, I must say, to the credit of both Pakistan and India, when they want to do something, it can be done, both in constructive and destructive way. Hopefully, in this case, the constructive part will take over, and the highway, the pilgrim facilities, visa facilities and so on should be in place in the short time that is available. So on that, I have no doubt that both the governments will have already set their machinery in operation, and even if not 100%, they will be close to 100% in providing those facilities.
You know, these are not ordinary times for the India-Pakistan relationship. Things have virtually broken down, post Pulwama and, the changes in Kashmir. But somehow the Kartarpur Corridor seems to be the only cross-border venture that is still on the table, that hasn't been set aside. Why do you think that is so?
Well, first, what amazes me is that about a year back, if you took the name Kartarpur, no one in India or Pakistan or anywhere else in the world would have known what exactly this name signifies. So, Kartarpur has become a recognized name in the subcontinent and outside as well. Second, why is it that Pakistan is so keen that Sikh community should not be offended in any which way possible? Take, for example, the Sikh girl who was kidnapped recently.
And forcibly converted to...
Forcibly converted. She, according to in the new reports, has been brought back and handed over to the family. But at the same time, there are many Hindu girls who've also been kidnapped. They have not been brought back and handed
Found
over
or
to their
traced,
families. So why is Pakistan anxious not to give any offense to Sikhs? That is what intrigues me, and that is what brings me back to the memories of Zia ul Haq. You would recall that during his regime, the first initiative in ensuring that Sikhs got a special access to their places of pilgrim in Pakistan was ensured, and Zia himself used to receive many of the Sikh jathas. But that was the genesis of Sikh extremism, the Khalistani movement in Punjab. So whether it is going to be a repeat of that, I hope not, but the signs are ominous, especially in the way that Pakistan is extremely anxious that nothing should go wrong in this enterprise called Kartarpur Sahib Corridor.
You know, I was among the Indian journalists who visited Kartarpur for the groundbreaking ceremony by Prime Minister Imran Khan in last year. And you know, one of the things that we picked up subsequently during the visit was that there had been a remarkable uptick in the activities of pro-Khalistani groups, especially from Canada and UK, in certain areas like Nankana Sahib and in Lahore. Do you think there is something more afoot? I mean, is Pakistan actively trying to kind of facilitate these Khalistani elements?
Well, I have no doubt at all that that is the case. If you remember on 15th August and the demonstrations outside the Indian High Commission in London, there was a fair sprinkling of Khalistani elements amongst the demonstrators and stone throwers. So ISI has been at work in major concentrations of Sikhs in Europe, be it Frankfurt, be it near Milan in Italy, or in London and Canada, as you mentioned. So they are doing it with a purpose and they are doing it to a plan. And 2020 referendum has been declared as their objective. It's not so much the objective of Sikhs in Punjab or Sikhs in India, but the objective of ISI along with the Khalistani elements. So that should be an issue of concern to us in India and also to the countries where this referendum is being propagated, because what hurts India today could also hurt Canada and UK tomorrow, because in 80s UK was warned by us, by the Indian Deputy High Commissioner at that time, that if you do not control it now, there could be rivers of blood in UK. So for their own sake, I think they should keep a check on ISI's activities in their countries and try and see that this is stemmed at this stage. For our sake, for India's sake, I think caution should be the key word right from now.
So one final question, Ambassador. Is this all going to be about walking a very fine line between facilitating the Sikh pilgrims who actually want to go and see Kartarpur Sahib, which is one of the most revered shrines in their religion, and ensuring that these same pilgrims are not in any way taken advantage of by Khalistani elements?
Well, you pointed out the crux of the matter. It's a delicate line that India has to tread from now onwards for the next 6-7 months at least, if not more. And there's a strong element of domestic compulsion in it, because having agreed to Pakistan's formula of Kartarpur Sahib Corridor, if they draw a step back and somehow this pilgrimage does not take place as per the anticipation of the community, then the blame would come on India and its government. So India would not like to do that, and especially because 500th anniversary is not an ordinary anniversary, and it carries a sentimental, deep sentimental value for the Sikh community. So having gone into this and having extended the issue to almost the final stages, India may find itself in an awkward situation where it agrees to Pakistani demands and Pakistani desires to an unreasonable extent also.
Thank you so much for your time, Ambassador.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.